What was working so well for Thompson today?
Good spin on the breaking ball. Kind of started with good fastball command more than anything, and then that led to guys chasing some off speed. Got into a rhythm there, third or fourth. Where then he was landing off speed pitches to complement it, so it made it a good overall package. And then, the command kind of faded the last couple innings, but he was still able to work out of jams or get out of situations. And of course, the last one, they go to the bullpen, and Futrell did a great job.
Feel like the offensive issues were more about y'all or more just about good pitching?
Combination, always a combination. Takes two to tango. But yeah, it started with good stuff. I think, I don't know how he threw last week or the week before, but, better than he had thrown against Florida. And, our guys maybe a little less of this or that today. It's kind of hard to tell. It's not like they didn't show up, energized. There's no over-celebrating or anything like that. They certainly wanted to win. You could sense that. But I think a combination of both is always going to be the case. But it's got to start with a guy throwing the ball well.
Was the approach the same throughout the game, or were they maybe getting a little bit tight or tense towards, as the innings went on?
No, I don't. I think that's. I didn't really sense the approach at the plate, but the frustration in the dugout was a little too high. And of course there's hooting and hollering in the middle of the game. But maybe one thing we talked about earlier is when frustration creeps in, there's a right way to handle it and a wrong way to handle it. And I can't speak for everybody because I can't get inside their head, but obviously the scoreboard says there was at least a way to handle it a little bit better.
How frustrating, I guess, were the types of bats that you guys got in the fifth and the seventh when you had two on and no outs?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you're about to kind of get the ball rolling downhill, and then it vanishes with that bat, so we don't get anything out of. And again, not one to bark at a guy for not getting a hit. I had many a days where I didn't do that, but in order for it to be a productive offense, we got to get something out of when you go into the box. Even if you swing at the first pitch, you'd like to make hard contact or at least have a good approach. So that was frustrating, and that led to, all things halting. So kind of back to my point, the stuff's got to be good to begin with, but all that kind of halted with poor approach in some of those at-bats.
Nate Snead had a really good weekend, obviously yesterday and then today. Because he pitched yesterday, obviously to go to the bullpen after about 65 minutes?
Yeah, I think that was a little, more than we wanted to, and so that's why it occurred in the middle of an at-bat. We just didn't want to rush Banky, so maybe on me a little bit. We definitely wanted him to go back out there, and he got us a huge first out. But even that was a little greedy. I know yesterday wasn't taxing, but when he's in there, he prepares like a maniac. When he's out there, he competes like a maniac. So we got more season left to play, and that's kind of how we wanted to work that deal.
What went wrong for Xander there in the first two innings?
They just had a good approach. He also missed in the middle of the plate several times, and the angle here is really tough. I know this park and our park are really tough to be an umpire because you can hear everything that's being said from the dugouts, and some things should be kind of left within the dugout. But the angle's kind of weird because some pitches I thought were this or that. You watch video and it's the opposite. But as far as the feedback from our players, including Cal, missed in the middle of the plate too much. But they also had a clear-cut approach against him that was good.
Tony, what's the vibe like after the series where you win a road series in this league? That's always a good thing. The last one doesn't go to the way you want. What's that do to kind of like the vibe after a weekend?
It depends on the team, and it depends on where you're at in the season, which is an easy way out for me to answer. But it also is a fact that this is our first opportunity to go into day 3, 2-0, and our guys are so geared up and I guess repped out, however you want to say it. We've done 1-1 a lot, and of course the Alabama series was frustrating, where we didn't take anything home with us that we wanted to. This one you're sour about today, and after you shower and you take the bus trip home, you have to turn the page to next week because, boom, you play Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so you need to be ready to rock and roll there. But at some point you also need to realize we're trying to, we're in a race with the other team, and we're trying to beat them to 2 wins, and we were able to do that.
A couple more guys.
This rivalry, just overall, how healthy is it right now in terms of they've had some success, you've had some success? How healthy is the overall scene of it right now?
It depends on which category you want to go to. I mean, you look at what Coach Corbin has accomplished, plenty. So regardless of how each day goes, he's going to be just fine. Their program is still the same program it's been. We still feel like we're trying to grow our stadium, our program, our approach, our recruiting. So we're just pushing forward. And, you know, as it relates to who you're playing in the league, I just think it can be a little overrated at times because you're trying, if you really want to break it down, you're trying to keep bread on the table for everybody. But really, at the same time, you're trying to compete each weekend and survive. And I think what success is in our league is maybe a little different than others because the competition level is so high. So, but for us, maybe it sounds bad. I still feel somewhat new to Tennessee. We're trying to push forward, you know, and just make, you know, daily improvements.
The way y'all use Snead this weekend kind of show how valuable he is as a bullpen guy as opposed to a starter.
Yeah, I think yesterday was a day that I said he was a Swiss Army knife, and he truly has been that for us. And Kirby's kind of been Mr. Everything for us too, but you know, Nate has definitely been that and done that well. And Coach A, you know, Frank always seems to develop somebody that, you know, fills that role for us. And originally you think it might be Causey, but Nate's presence has improved daily. We talk about daily improvement. And then his willingness to attack the zone has been tremendous.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach. Good way.
Yeah.